public, and I'm 13 years old. Books have taken me on adventures all over this world. Movies have shown me intense challenges that heroes face. My brother's video games have taught me that a gruesome death will come quickly if you're not paying attention. It's a wild world out there, and here in Texas, it gets even wilder. I'm going to experience, explore, thrive, and survive these wilder lands. And you are coming with me! Come on, you guys. It's time to go camping. Okay, so when you go camping, you know, you've got the basics. You got the tent, the food, and the water. But here's some other stuff you might want to bring. First up is bug eater offer. Everything's bigger in Texas, so especially the mosquitoes. And sometimes it takes a lot, so you kind of got to bathe in it and you smell good. Next up is a hammer wacky thingy. This is good for many different uses, but especially for getting in tent stakes, because sometimes it can be a pain to take a rock and wedge in the tent stake with the rock and you can hurt your hand. So it's good to bring one of these guys. Next up, I have a lime. Now you might ask me, why do I have a lime? But if you've seen some of my other episodes, you know that limes work good for fire ant bites. And in Texas, there's tons of fire ants. I've already gotten bit by quite a few. So it's good to have one of these guys. Okay, so here I've got some extra clothes. I've got an extra swimming suit, as well as this one right here. I've got some socks, some underwears, and some shorts. Here I have some paracord rope stuff, and this is good for many uses, tying up stuff, holding on to stuff, but it's good to have this with. Here I have some tongs. Now these tongs are very good when you are grilling, because it's really a pain to grab burning hot dogs off the fire. So it's good to have some of these guys. Plus you can scratch your back. Okay, here I have some sunscreen. Now this is only 15 SPF. You might want to get a little bit stronger if you're sensitive to the sun, but this is very important in the hot suns of Texas, especially on beaches. Okay, here I have some reading material, and this is a campsite companion, and this tells you all you need to know about camping. Plus it has a nice protective cover, so it is waterproof and won't get ripped very easily. Here I have a fillet knife. You got to be careful with these guys because they're really sharp and you can cut yourself. I've already done it before and it doesn't feel very good. And these guys work great for when you catch fish that are big enough to keep. You can fillet them up, and most state parks have lots of filleting stations, so you can fillet those guys up and cook them over the fire and eat them. And they're delicious. Okay, here I have a first aid kit. This first aid kit is full of stuff. It's got the common stuff like the Neosporin and the band-aids and all that, but it also has some other special stuff since it is a wild type first aid kit. A fish holder basket, toilet paper, a map of the area where you are at with trails and other stuff like that, soap, chapstick for lips that become chapped, a cellular device object thing telephone caller, lighter fluid, be careful, a net for catching small animals and fish and stuff, a nice tackle box for us that we can look in later. a bright lantern so we can see at night, a bucket for bucketing stuff, two hiking boots, a larger net that folds up so we can catch small fish and such, a camelback that holds water so that we don't get dehydrated, goggles for seeing underwater, and my knife, of course. A bag of charcoal so that we can light fire so that we can eat. A little charcoal grill so we can cook food at night and during the day. A box of matches, and since Alec never goes camping without one, a fishing pole. So that's pretty much the basics on what you need to bring on a normal camping trip. So first is first, so how about we go start setting up our tent? Okay, you guys, so first things first, we gotta pick out our spot. Now, at this state park, they call this type of camping primitive. Now, usually primitive, I consider it like you gotta hike in a mile and they give you nothing, but they consider it primitive because they don't give you electricity. We have water and a fire pit, but no electricity, so I guess they can call it primitive camping. So this is our cool little area right here. We've got a cool little trail spot thing down there, which is actually like a cliff drop-off, fall to the death thing, so that'll be fun. And the people who were here before us left us an odd little tightrope thing, object, hopscotch item, but for some reason, they seem to put clothespins on it. So yeah, I guess we gotta find our spot. We gotta find somewhere that's gonna be shaded in the morning, cause it's really horrible waking up in the hot, humid suns of Texas. Okay, so I guess if we had to pick an ideal spot for our tent to go, it would be right in this general area. Now, the reason we should pick it right here is, one, it's all sandy as you can see, so when you sleep in the tent at night, you won't be poked by a bunch of rocks. And so as you can see, the sun's setting right now and it's all shaded. Plus over here I've got a bunch of trees, so that will protect us in the morning from the hot Texas sun. And as you can see, there's lots of sticks, but don't worry, I'll clear those sticks away for you so that when you're sleeping you don't get poked in the back. So I guess let's set up our tent. Okay, so first we tarp. Now, the reason we tarp is to protect the ground from our presence. Okay, so I set up the tent and I've got all of our stakes hammered in, and since this thing has a little hook on the end, I can just hang it on that tightrope thing and it's good to stay there. There is an option to put a rain fly on our tent, but since we live in Texas, there's really no reason reason to put a rain fly on since there's no rain. And since we don't have the rain fly on tonight, we can look at the stars, and it also creates more ventilation because waking up in the morning in Texas in a tent, it's like sitting in a toaster oven. It's horrible. I did it with just me and let you sit back there and relax and watch. So yeah.
Okay, so you guys, here's the Texan armadillo right here. They're pretty hard to find, but this guy's so cool. So yeah, you guys, that's Texas for you. Armadillos. So cool.
Okay, you guys, so since we're doing normal camping, I thought that it would be kind of cool to have a grill instead of the type of fire that I like, you know, getting down with my flint striker, making a big old fire. So I decided that we could try out this. It's just a little tiny charcoal grill, and it makes better for slow roasting with the marshmallows. And I'll make sure to make you guys one. This can be yours, and I'll eat that one. And I'm gonna make them nice and golden brown. So, have you guys ever heard the story of the Tickalosh? Well, the Tickalosh was made by a man who got some deformed babies who were abandoned by their parents, and he released them into the forest to fend for themselves. And then, a couple years later, he went back and he got them, and they were like wild animals. They had backwards knees and sideways eyes and fangs, and they were really mean little buggers. And they can also have powers. When they put a stone on their tongue, they can turn invisible to the point where only little kids under the age of 6 can see them. And what the Tickalosh does is he eats humans. He'll go and he'll hide under your bed at night, and then when you're fast asleep, he'll jump up on your bed and he'll bite your throat and rip your esophagus out. And then he'll eat the rest of you. So, later tonight when you're sleeping, make sure to check for a Tickalosh under your bed so that he doesn't eat your brains. So, nothing like a good old campfire story with some golden brown schmellows. And if you don't mind, I'm gonna eat your marshmallow. It's so good. Oh my gosh, it's delicious. And now for mine.
Okay, so just tonight I've seen 2 shooting stars. I've seen the Big and the Little Dipper, and I tried to find Orion's belt, but I couldn't manage to find that. And the wind finally decided to calm down, which was good. But now it's time to get some sleep. So, good night.
Aw, come on. Rise and shine, sleepy monkeys. Wakey, wakey, wakey. Come on, it's time to get up. There are new possibilities for this sunny day.
Come on, sleepyhead, get up. It's time to go adventuring.
Okay, you guys, so when you go into the main office, you can almost always get one of these guys. And this is a map. It's very useful, and it's got like the different common types of fish in the lake, and it's got a legend, and I'll show you guys in a little bit. And yeah, so when you're out camping, you gotta make sure that you drink lots of water, and if you're from weird places of the world, you might pronounce it water, but it still does the same thing. It wets your esophagus. But you gotta make sure that you're super hydrated for lunch and breakfast and dinner. You should always have water, and then it was some dessert made of water, and then take a couple shots of water. Okay, so now to the map. Okay, so you can see over here, oh, the white stuff is the land, and then the lighter green stuff is all the water, and as you can see, it's a huge lake. And if you need to find stuff like the restrooms and you know where your site is, there's the woman and the man right there. And then you can look over here at the legend and you see the woman and the man, and that says restrooms. So it's handy to know where everything is, and it's got all the other stuff on the legend. So you can find your way around the state park, and it's like a little handy GPS thing. You can find them everywhere in the Texas state parks. And as you can see behind me, there's the lake. Obviously it's not the big part of the lake, but it is a lake and it's got fish in it, so we're gonna try fishing in a little bit. But first off, I'm gonna show you a couple handy things that you need when you go camping. Bare feet. Now, you always see me walking around without shoes, but I've learned to be really careful because there's so many things that can hurt my feet when I'm walking around barefoot. So you'll even see me wear shoes in some of the places that I go camping or survivoring or whatever I do. But if you're going camping, I recommend that you do wear shoes because there's so many things that can hurt your feet. There's scorpions, there's ants, there's thorns, there's fish hooks, there's little cockaburs. They're just horrible. The last thing you need is to stub your toe and be limping around the state park for the rest of your camping trip because that can really ruin your trip. I'd recommend that you have some water shoes because I've found fish hooks in the water before that I could have stepped on, and if they would have gotten in, I could have got tetanus. So you got to be careful. You got to wear water shoes, nice hiking boots with hard toes. Just get some nice shoes so that you don't hurt your feet and you're good to go. Okay, so when you're out hiking around, make sure that you always stomp your feet. Because in Texas, there's lots of different poisonous snakes that are running around. And when you stomp, the vibration goes through the ground. The snakes hear it and feel it and stuff, and they get scared away so that they don't get startled and bite you. Even with the non-venomous snakes, they can still bite you, and that'll hurt. So make sure that you stomp your feet when you're hiking around to scare away those nasty snakes. Okay, so when we're hiking out in the woods, one thing you gotta make sure is to never go off the trail to protect you and to protect the nature and wildlife and all that, and make sure to never approach a wild animal for your safety and the animal's safety. And last but not least, you need to make sure that when you're out hiking, you've got all your supplies. Here I've got my camelback, I've got my knife just in case I need to cut anything or I need to protect myself. I've got some extra clothes, I've got some water in my camelback, and most importantly, I have this right here. Now this is a little radio. This is for my safety, and make sure that you tell everybody where you're going before you go hiking so that you don't get lost and nobody ever finds you and you die in the woods. And if you're ever out and about, my radio call is Little Fishy, just in case you need to talk to me or something. But this is just in case I need to call like headquarters, or headquarters needs to call me and I need to get back really fast. So this is important to have with you just in case something goes wrong. And yeah, that's the basics of hiking out and about. So now that we've got everything together, we're good to go. So let's get going. Okay, so I've been looking up and down the beach, and I finally found a pretty decent spot that we can go fishing at. And since the wind is so strong today, I chose a little more enclosed area so the waves aren't flying around and all that. But some people ask about a drought, and over behind me I have a very good example of how to prove that there are droughts in Texas. So, if you look over here, you can see a fishing pier. And look how high up off the water that fishing pier is. The water's way down there. It's supposed to be right where you enter, up by that filleting area place. And look at that water. And that water used to be all the way up to the very top just 3 years ago. In 3 years, that's how far down the water went and grass had time to grow and everything. But luckily, there's still good fish to catch in this lake. So I guess we'll try our luck and see what we can get. Okay, you guys, now we're gonna go fishing. So we can take a look in my tackle box, one of my many tackle boxes. I like this one particularly for camping because it's easier to lug around. It's not 80 pounds like my other one. But I'll give you a look inside. Okay, you guys, so now I'll give you a look inside of my tackle box so you guys can figure out what you want to use when you go fishing. We've got like all these hooks, these weights, these lures. We got a stringer here for fish that are over the limit so that we can keep them if we want to. We've got some more lures, we got some glow-in-the-dark bobbers, and for live bait we've got some worms here and some shad. Got a couple bobbers, we got a rod holder, and we got some bells. And what these bells do is you clip them onto the end of your rod so when you get bites, when you're fishing off the bottom, it'll ring, and then you know you're getting bites. Okay, so now time to pick out what we want to use. And over here I have the rods. I've got a normal rod and an ultralight. They're both open face rods. And you guys can use the ultralight today. And what rig you guys are going to be using is you're going to have, like, I don't know how much this is, maybe an ounce. It's a sinker. It's a pyramid sinker, so it's going to stick into the bottom in the sand. And the cool thing about this area is there's like no weeds in the water, so you won't really get snagged on anything. And then what we've got over here, you got a pretty good sized hook. And then we have another pretty good sized hook right there. So you have double the chance of catching a fish. And then what I'm gonna be using is the normal rod. It reels really nice, but I've got to figure out what I want to use. So I think I am going to use a bobber and some shad. And you guys can use the worms. And then you guys will know when you get a fish, because I'll put the little ringer on the end of your rod, the jingle bells or whatever you want to call them, and then you'll know when you get a fish. And what is shad, you ask? Well, shad is a little fish. And as you can see, he's a pretty good sized bait fish. And you can get these guys out of the ocean just with a cast net or something, and they work really good. They're a little bait fish. And the reason I'm using these is because it's a fish eat fish world, and the small guys seem to get the bad side of that phrase. So this guy's gonna get eaten. Plus these guys are on the gar list, and I've seen lots of gar around here, so hopefully I'll get a gar. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put this little fishy guy on the hook, and here we go. Here he is on the hook, and I guess we'll throw him in and see if we can have any luck with this guy. Okay, so what you're gonna do to cast this open-faced rod is you're going to flip this little metal bail right here, and then what you want to do is you want to hold on to the string, because if you let go of the string, it's just gonna fall, and then you can't really cast because your bait's on the ground. But what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your finger and you're gonna hold it right against the rod right there, and then what you're gonna do is you're going to point the rod straight out, and you're not gonna act like you're pitching a baseball because all your bait will fly off. What you want to do is just take a smooth sort of swing, and once you get to a 90-degree angle, you're going to pick up your finger and release it so the line goes flying, and I'll show you what happens from there. Okay, you guys, you got a big one. Oh my gosh, I can't even know it. It's gotta be a monster gar. Oh my gosh. Look at that guy, he's huge. Oh my gosh. Okay, so you guys got a gigantic freshwater drum. And I'll unhook him real quick. Oh my gosh, that was so hard to reel him in. Look at how big he is. He must be like 7 inches. Wow, that's amazing. Well, good job you guys, you got one. And I guess we can let him go. Okay, now it's my turn. Okay, this guy has some pull. Come on. Whew, that's a good sized fish. Okay. Okay, come on. Okay. Oh my gosh. This is a really nice, I think, blue cat. Pretty sure that's what it is. You can hear him croak. Man, this is a nice fish right here. I know, we're gonna have to measure him though to see if we can keep him. I'm not really sure if he's big enough. But man, look at this guy. That's a nice fish. Look at that fin right there. That's crazy. On the back of my tackle box here is the little ruler. It's got it in inches and centimeters. He's about, let's see, 10, 11, 12. He's about 14, 15 inches, so I was pretty close. But before I let him go for putting up such a good fight, I will give him a kiss. Good fishy. Okay, you guys, it's my turn again. Oh man, this one's a little bigger than the last guy, I think. Just hope he's not another catfish. I'm a little tired of catfish. Okay, calm down. This guy is big catfish, big blue cat. This guy is totally 100% a keeper. Oh my gosh, look at the size of this fish. Thank you, Mr. Catfish, for hitting me in the face. You gotta be careful with catfish because of their barbs, and this guy would really hurt if he got you. And remember, the barbs are right here, here, and here, and that is the catfish's form of defense. I have been stabbed by a barb before and it went through my shoe, so you gotta be careful with these guys. Okay. Ow, he bit me. Charlie bit me. That really hurt. Look at this dude. Oh my gosh, he's huge. Talking? So this guy is big enough to keep. He's a lot of meat. He would be delicious, but we're gonna be nice and let this monster go. Okay, so while I was on my way to the restrooms, which to me is a downgrade from the forest, but I thought it might be fun to try, I stumbled upon this little guy. Okay, so this little guy right here is named Gumby. Now the reason he's named Gumby is because he's all green and flexible and stuff. And he's pretty cool. He likes to climb on sticks. But since he's a wild bug, I need to release him. But there's one last look at him. It's pretty cool. And he is going back into the woods where he belongs. Come on, Gumby. Okay, so over down this cliff, it leads down to some water and it's pretty cool down there, and I want to get down there, but it's pretty darn dangerous. If you just want to jump down, you could really hurt yourself. So what I did was I got some paracord And I tied some nice loops, and if you want to see how to tie the loop, all you do is, so you grab it like this, you twist it around, and then you pop it in, and then you pull, but I don't want to tie another one because I've got the right amount of space to tie it onto this tree. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to loop it around here. I gotta use some really good, tight, tough knots so that I don't fall to my death. And I've got some like footsie holders and handsy holders, grabbers, hand graspers, whatever you want to call them. But I've got to make sure these are some really tight knots because, again, I don't want to fall and break my arm. Or worse. And it's a really pretty view from up here. I can look down because the sun's going down and it reflects off the water, and I've seen a couple of turtles and stuff down there. And I think that's pretty good right there. So, I was down here swimming, and you won't believe what I just saw. And by the way, sorry I didn't invite you, but what I saw was a huge carp. As I've mentioned in other episodes, sometimes carp will come into the shallows, and you're able to catch them with your hands. But they put up a really good fight, so you got to be careful, because these guys can get really monstrous. Sometimes carp can get hit by boats and stuff, so they'll get a little loopy in the head. So sometimes they don't put up as much of a fight because they're injured and they're bleeding. But I'll see what this guy can do because I see one in the shallows. He's huge. And I'm going to see if I can tackle him and bring him into shore. I just got to be careful because with that muscle on that fish, he can seriously hurt me if he decided to hit me in the right spot. Okay, you guys, so I'm going to show you what he looks like here. Okay, so here I have a good sized carp. He's pretty injured. Looks like he got hit by something on the head or the eye area because he's pretty cut up. But he's pretty badly injured. You can see his mouth is moving and his gills are. But I don't know if he's gonna make it. But either way, I'm still gonna release him so that he does have a chance. Carp have no teeth, so you can see I can stick my finger in his mouth and it doesn't hurt. He's just sucking on my finger. And this is a really big fish. I'm gonna put him straight up and down. Okay, so my toe is right next to his mouth, and then his tail right here goes up to my hip. My leg is straight out, it's my knees locked, everything. So that fish is from my toes to right here. That's a really big fish. He's really heavy too. It's hard for me to even pick him up. But I guess I'm gonna go release him now. So get him in the water. Let him out a little bit. Gotta get into the deeper stuff.
Pretty birdie feather.
Well, that's convenient.
Okay, you guys, so it's cool because when you look in the main office, you can see all sorts of stuff. You've got like the visitor's book, you can sign and you can write all sorts of stuff like about your stay and all that. And over here you've got some flyers. It's for like every single state park. And it's really cool. It's got some other parks and you can just look through those and find out which one you want to go to next. It's got all sorts of different stuff like rules and stuff about geocaching. And then over here there's like the maps and little books and stuff like that. And then up here they've got a book exchange. So what you can do is you can put a book, you can put one of your books in there, and then you can take a book with you to read. Okay, you guys, so the cool part that I'm looking for in here is the venomous snake chart. So we'll go look at that now. Okay, so right here you can see all the different venomous snakes of Texas. And then it tells like the different numbers of the snakes that are on that little chart right there. And here you've got the cottonmouth, which is the water moccasin, number 6. And here's number 6, so that's the one. And yesterday I saw one of those guys, it's the pygmy rattlesnake. So yeah, those are the snakes to watch out for when you're hiking around and out and about.
Okay, you guys, so what do you think I'm gonna do with this lime? Well, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna squirt some lime juice on my fire ant bites, and that's to make them feel better. Because when fire ants bite you, they can bite you up to 30 times, and it burns a lot, and then it itches. So, to cure that pain and itch and all that, I'm gonna put some lime juice on it, make it feel better. But I looked under this picnic table, and there is a big black widow under there, so I'm gonna make this fast. Okay, so right here is my cluster of bites, if you can see them. And I'll just take a little bit of juice, squish. Okay, so how this works is the juice inside the lime, it's got all those citric acids and citrus and all that. And that citric acid counteracts the venom in the fire ant bites and then makes it feel all better. So I should be good by no time. And I'm gonna get off this table before I get bit by a black widow. Ding! Okay, so I've packed all of our stuff up and I had a great time. I hope you guys did too. And now all that's left is to police the site, walk around, make sure we're not leaving anything, just pick up stuff around the site, and then I want to show you something. But first, we're gonna make sure we didn't leave anything behind. Okay, you guys, so I policed the site. I found a couple pieces of trash, but now those are in the dumpster where they belong. We're all cleaned up, we're ready to go. It's a beautiful, hot summer day in Texas, and just look around. There's butterflies everywhere, and the lake is down there, you guys can see. And just look at this. It's amazing. But did you notice anything? There's nobody here. I mean, we at the moment are the only people in this state park. I just think that's absurd that nobody else is camping on this beautiful day. So come on, you guys, let's go camping. And until next time, stay wild.